I wanted to change. I wanted to change to be proud of me, to be kind to myself, to love myself. And I wanted to start something new. Maybe you feel relationships breaking apart and you don't know how to let them go. Maybe you've been a huge people pleaser and you know at this point of your life it's time to please you. I want to let you know that it's okay to choose you. How do you introduce yourself to the world? Do you like to introduce yourself? I don't like introductions. I'm not a fan of it. And I think it's because I'm very intuitive. And if you're intuitive, let me know if you've ever experienced someone and they introduce themselves to you. And it's almost as if they're trying to show you the best parts of themselves, but deep down through their eyes, through their soul, through your own intuition, you know that there's something deeper within. And their introduction is just scratching the surface. I like to get to know a person naturally. I like to ask questions and see how a person thinks, see how they tick. That's my way of getting to know a person. But I've also noticed that I didn't really necessarily introduce myself to you. And introductions, they just happen. How can you be interested in someone if they didn't even tell you who they are? I didn't tell you who I am. So let this be my first introduction to you. Let this be your way to see if you align with me. And if you do, hit that subscribe button. I want to do this in a way by letting you know who I used to be and who I am now and where I'm continuing to go. I want to ask you a question. Who were you in 2016? What were you doing in 2016? If you can go back that far, right? Because how much can you remember before COVID? I asked you that question. I asked that you please comment below. Let me know. Where were you in 2016? Was it a place that you wish you can go back to? Or is it a place that you are so proud of yourself, a place that you've grown from? For me, it's a place that I've grown from. In a political society way in the United States, in 2016, Trump had won presidency. Unemployment was at an all-time low because of Obama's administration. Prince had transitioned. The Post nightclub, they had a shooting there. Simone Biles won Rio. And in 2024, she did amazing this year. 2016 was 8 years ago. And I know for millennials, it don't seem like it. It seems like it was just yesterday. But 2016 was 8 years ago. Where were you 8 years ago? For me, I was a teacher. I was a nanny for a wonderful family. I had stability and comfort within myself. I was doing so much, giving out so much of myself and getting a little bit of ounce in return. I didn't feel emotionally stable within myself. I had so many emotional breakouts. I would be happy one day, sad one day, and not know why. I wasn't feeling like myself. I don't think I liked myself. I knew I wanted change. I just didn't know what change I wanted. I knew I didn't want to be a teacher for all of my life. I wasn't happy in how I was feeling about myself. I was engaged, but there was something within me. There was a calling that there was more for me, and I just didn't know what it was. And I knew I had to heal. I had anxiety so bad. I would just try to find a solution to every problem. Definitely a capital P people pleaser. But I wasn't content with myself. You ever had or been in a space where everybody around you was content with who you are, but you weren't content with yourself? Or everybody called you a nice person, but you felt like you weren't being nice to yourself? That was me in 2016. I wasn't taking care of myself. Self-love, self-care. What was that to me? I didn't know. I didn't learn it, but I knew I wanted something different. You ever had that feeling or the inkling that you know something has to change? And it was as if my higher self, my intuition, God, however you want to say it, it's as if I heard a voice and it told me to write. And I remember writing a letter of intention as to how I wanted to see myself. And in that letter, I had said a lot of things that I'm not going to hold you and tell you, but I wanted to change. I wanted to change to be proud of me, to be kind to myself, to love myself. And I wanted to start something new. I wanted to encourage people. I wanted to help people. But I didn't know in that letter I had to help myself first. I knew when I wrote that letter, it was a manifestation of living in God's dream for me. The dream that was made for me and making it a reality. I didn't know I needed to do that. But I knew from writing that letter, things would have changed in my life, and it did. If I fast forward to 8 years later, which if you're good into numerology, 8 means personal growth. I've changed so much, and I'm still changing. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not that girl that I was 8 years ago, but I'm a woman in front of you today. I'm a woman who's proud of herself, even when there's some people who aren't proud of me. Even when there's people who don't feel me as being this nice person. I'm nice to me. 8 years later, I've found to love myself unconditionally. And I'm grateful to be different. Just for me. I'm grateful that my difference can spark a transformation for possibly you. Maybe you're in the space where I was 8 years ago when I know I needed something in my life to change. I just didn't know what it was. This is one piece of advice I will tell you though. In 2016, I asked for flowers, new flowers in my life. And within 2016 to 2024, it rained. It rained a lot. And when I say it rained, a lot of things changed for me. It felt like I felt all seasons happening, the seasons of the weather happening at one moment for me. Things were going, things were coming. I was crying, I was grieving. I didn't know, I didn't trust. But this was a push forward for God's dream for me to have faith and for me to trust my own self. 8 years later, I am spiritual. I'm intuitive. I'm a certified energy practitioner. I am a seer. I went through a huge spiritual change and transformation. I have had mentors that helped me and guided me to hone in on my gifts. And I'm still learning my gifts. I'm still accepting my gifts. I come from a religious background. I've had family who are Jehovah's Witnesses and Christians, and that the typical beautiful Black family who sees astrology and the metaphysical scope as a sin or from the lower vibrations from the devil. And I've pushed through that. I went against what people were saying to me to find myself. And when you're finding yourself, you have to learn how to trust yourself. My main job was focusing on my spiritual growth. My main job was trusting my faith. My main job was learning to love me. I wasn't focused necessarily on the money. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I wasn't worried about money. But I had to learn through God that my main job was to learn to love me so that I may put a spark in transformation and helping people learn to love themselves. And this is why I'm here talking to you, introducing myself to you. Because maybe you're going through what I call a healing, authentic, or transformative moment in your life. And maybe you have family or you have friends who aren't used to this new version of you. Maybe you feel relationships breaking apart and you don't know how to let them go. Maybe you've been a huge people pleaser and you know at this point of your life it's time to please you. Maybe that's where you are. And if so, and you're watching, let's align, hit subscribe. Tell me you're going through a change. It's okay. I want to let you know that it's okay to choose you. It's okay to not have to solve everyone's problem. It's okay to not give so much of yourself without receiving in return. It's okay to let go. It's okay to trust. It's okay to cry and not know. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to miss an old version of yourself because it made you comfortable. That was comfort for you. But we in 2024, and we would be a fool to say that there is no change happening. I know you feel it because I feel it. I know you see it. There's so much happening. And it's all to help us learn to love ourselves, and therefore we will learn to love our neighbor. To be true to ourselves, to not judge ourselves, so therefore we won't judge others. That's what this calling is growing us into. It's moving us into a space to learn to love us, appreciate us, see us, hear us. There's a lot that we pushed away because we don't want to deal with the feelings. That's why I don't like introductions. I feel like we introduce the greatest part of ourselves. But the greatest part of yourself are the good things about you and the what we call the bad things. Putting that all together makes your authentic self. That's the community I'm welcoming. Not people who are just all love and light and goodness. That's not fully true. Because we have traumas that we have to discover, that we have to see, that we have to understand and realize that it's a purpose of our healing. That makes us authentic. I don't want people to just love me for the goodness I put in their life. I don't want people to love me because I'm a nurturer, I'm a caretaker, and I'm always giving. Because then eventually I will feel used and depleted. I want people to love me for being stubborn, for me choosing my boundaries, for me being empathetic, but allowing my spiritual discernment to have boundaries. I want people to honor my boundaries. I want people to tell me if I'm wrong and we could agree to disagree. Authenticity, the truth of a person, is what I'm growing myself into. As I see and love myself more, it's amazing the people that you attract yourself to. Truly beautiful, authentic people. And that's why I am 8 years later. I'm not going to sit here and say, that I have it all together. I don't. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still living. I'm still learning. I'm still evolving. And you are too. We all are. That is why I wanted to introduce myself to you. To let you know that if you're on a journey, if you're on a space where you are changing and you want someone new to see you, to hear you, because maybe your family, your friends, they don't get that you're changing, and you've happened to see this video and you happen to still watch, know that I'm applauding you. That it's amazing that you're changing in ways that serve you in your highest version of yourself. You know your dream. Family and friends may not. And you know your dream could be manifested into a reality that serves you abundantly. Go for it. Be scared. Be called to do that something that you need to do. It's going to show you a version of yourself that you've never been. That's where I am now. So hit that subscribe. Let's get to know each other. Stay true to introducing the real you. I love you.